And in Melbourne, as we speak, Susie O'Brien from the Herald Sun is still with us, and Stephen Senatiempo in Canberra, breakfast host of Radio 2CC. I want to show both of you a little moment in sport. We're speaking about women's sport and how brilliantly it's going for Australia at the moment. Let's have a look at this athlete winning a record in women's weightlifting in Canada. That's Anne Andres, 40 years old, a biological male who's a transgender woman now, identifies as a woman, and just smashed that record. A lot of the women didn't bother competing against her. Susie, is this fair play?
I don't think it's fair play, and I think it undermines the status of a lot of legitimate trans athletes who have to meet a lot of rules in terms of hormones or anything else so that there's a level playing field. If you've got a man who says, I'm a woman, I can compete with other women, and then they go and beat them by 200 kilograms, it's an absolute farce. And I think it doesn't do women any service. It certainly doesn't do trans athletes who are working hard to be on the same biological level as women. It's just a complete and utter debacle, and I think the female weightlifters of Canada have got every right to feel completely ripped off by this complete farce. Yeah,
it's an important story because we're all revelling in the success of the Matildas and how that encourages girls in sport as well. And we all know girls have a high participation rate in sport when they're young, but it drops off pretty rapidly in the teenage years, which is something that everybody thinks ought to be addressed. And this sort of thing, having to come up against transgender athletes sometimes is really not helping. I just want to show, before I come to you, Stephen, a little bit of Anne Andres speaking here, and it's followed, after her, you'll hear from Riley Gaines, a former swimmer. Have a look.
I mean, standard bench in powerlifting competition for women, I literally don't understand why it's so bad.
Let's rephrase that. Women's bench might be bad to you because you're a male who's gone through male puberty with a male amount of testosterone.
Yeah, I mean, spot on. Here is this athlete dissing the women athletes because he turns up with the biology of a male. It's just shocking.
Yeah, it really is. And, you know, I mean, sport is supposed to be the great leveller. It's supposed to be all about fairness. I mean, it's one of the principles of the Olympics. And, you know, I mean, when you look at situations like this, Billy Birmingham was joking about it 30 years ago, and now it's a reality that we've got biological men beating women in strength sports. I mean, let's be fair dinkum about it. This is weightlifting where strength, bone density, muscle density is the key to actually being good at this sport. And we've got one competitor that has a vast advantage over everybody else. And we're calling it a level playing field? Fair dinkum.